Hello and welcome to episode 8 of The Clutch Kick. I am one of your hosts, Greg Merriman, and my co-host...
On the right. Yeah, so I am EG. I'm another one of your hosts for The Clutch Kick. So today, what are we going to talk about?
Well, this weekend we've just made a big trip up to QR Matsuri, or Matsuri, as EG would like
Matsuri.
it to be pronounced. Oh yeah, that's it. I say it like a white person.
No, they should just say it as festival. Should be just Drift Festival. Because that's what it is.
Look, and this, I think, was probably the closest that you'll get in the country to actually being a proper drift festival. We'll talk about it more soon, but the fact that we've got so much time to be allowed on track on Saturday and then a good amount of time on Sunday, it was probably the closest you'll get to a proper 24-hour track open style situation. So that was definitely cool.
Yeah,
But before we dive too deep into our Queensland trip, let's
go through some news.
Go through some news.
Okay. All right. So last weekend was also the SA Drift Matsuri at Malala. So there's been a lot of media coming out from that. And there was also Stewie had tried to organise a unofficial big entry competition. I'm not sure if that went down. Have you seen anything about that?
I saw him post up that he was trying to make it happen, but I'm not sure how much actually happened. I saw a bunch of photos come up from the event, and it looked like there were a lot of cars out there and some good quality cars, but not a huge amount from the big entry thing. He's put up a video of him and Spencer throwing it in big on turn cool. 1.
Yeah.
But it looks like that's probably how the whole weekend went. Knowing Stewie, that's probably how every run looked. So, but it looked like it was definitely a good turnout for that one. That was actually, if my car had been running for South Australia, I had contemplated driving up to Adelaide, leaving the car for 3 weeks, and then flying home and then flying back for that, because I figure it's not going to be often that you'll do the 14-hour drive down to South Australia. So I actually really want to try and get across for one of those events at some stage, but it didn't work out this year.
Okay, so that was after DCA
Mount Gambier.
Yeah, just leave the car there. Okay.
Yeah, just go up and fly out of Adelaide. That's 2 birds with 1 stone, but maybe once the Benz is open with the drift track, that might definitely be an option in the future. Try and do a few events down there in one hit.
Yeah, definitely. That's closer to Mount Gambier as well. Is
it? I don't know if it's. I thought the Benz was a little bit north of Adelaide.
No, it's south.
Okay.
Malala's north of Adelaide.
Okay. No, that would definitely work then.
So it looks cool. I want to go.
Yeah, definitely, and it'd be just good to try and hit up a few of them. Have you driven Malala at all?
No, I've been there twice. I've been a passenger once, and that's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I haven't actually driven the track yet.
Yeah, it's somewhere I'd definitely like to get and drive, considering, that was sort of the home of drift during the Drift Australia days. Yes, Oran Park was a big part of it, but there was a big contingency from South Australia when, it being the drift state, I guess it was called at the time, and definitely a big home of Australian drifting that still actually exists. So, definitely be cool to get down there.
Because they had Gawler as well. But I don't think... Did you ever see Gawler?
Yeah, the little go-kart track.
Yeah, that looked cool.
Yeah, cool little place as well. So, definitely big things coming from there.
Cool. More news. I have more news. So, you look like you need to say something. Did I cut you off?
Nah, go ahead.
Okay. So also last weekend was D1NZ, where there was some Aussies at that event. I'm not sure how everyone placed, but I have a feeling Matty Hill from Sydney got knocked out quite early.
Yeah, I think he was knocked out top 24. And Darren Kelly in the Nissan-backed R35 GTR won the event over Carl Armstrong, as far as I'm aware. Yes. Uh, and yeah, so it looked like there were a few dramas over there. The track was somewhere that they hadn't visited for 5 years. It definitely looked like a cool little track, and reports from Blake Patterson, who was spotting for Matty Hill over there, said that the crowd was a really good turnout when it came to numbers in the crowd. It seemed like it was from what Blake was saying, it was a smaller town, I guess a sort of Tasmanian style setup, and yeah, they got a decent crowd through there, actually more than they were getting at the custom built indoor stadium style stuff that they ran at the first two events of the year. So that's pretty cool to know that there are definitely strongholds of drift in different pockets of different countries, and I think they're sort of the pockets that the sport has to exploit. But then there were some dramas on the Saturday. I think they run
about the track, or is it about something else?
Yeah, no, the track ended up getting torn up by one of their recovery vehicles that tore an absolutely massive channel down the side of one of the circuits. But
that
some reports were
huge.
Yeah,
I saw photos of that. I can't believe that actually happened.
Yeah, it reminds me when I was living in Detroit. I went to the first IndyCar race back on the streets of Detroit. There's an island on the river between Canada and the US that connects two of the lakes, and it was just turn into disrepair, and they used it's concrete slabs that make up the road, and they had filled the gaps in the road with just basically rubber filler. And as the IndyCar's tires got hotter and the aero was sucking the cars down to the ground and pulling the air up, it ended up pulling these big these big rubber snakes out of the road that was joining the surfaces together. So they ended up having to use quickset cement that they were making on the track while they held the race up to get it all cleaned up to keep running the race. And it just reminds me of that, like this massive channel in the middle of this road is now opened up with no way to fix it. So that seemed like a bit of a shame, but it seemed like it ended up coming off as a great event overall. And I think we'll probably try and get Blake on definitely in the next week or two to have a chat about it. He's been raving about how things are done over there.
Yeah, and the cars as well. He said the cars are amazing.
Yeah, car vibe, driver vibe, culture vibe, all that sort of stuff. So definitely we'll get him on and to have a chat about that, and that could go for days. I mean, hours. So
okay.
And then another big announcement that you alluded to the fact of is that the FIA Intercontinental Drifting Cup is back for 2018.
Yep. It's going to be held back in Tokyo at Odaiba, November 3rd and 4th, so right towards the end of the year. Don't think they've actually made any announcements about the drivers, so I'd assume it'd be fairly similar to last year's event. So
yeah, I would imagine that it'll be offered to as the seasons wrap up, because it looks like they've actually put it post FD season, post D1 season. So they'll probably be gunning to try and get the top drivers from those series over there, I would imagine, to try and legitimize the event a little bit more. They sort of lacked a few of the drivers from FD that should have been there. So I think they're trying to give people more of a chance. And the fact that, they've announced November, so that gives them everybody, about an 8-month lead-in period, as opposed to last time that was only
a month
maybe
or something, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was really short.
Yeah, maybe 2-3 months tops, but it was in the middle of the FD season as well. And I think it was an exhibition round sort of between or before one of the rounds of D1 as well. So it seemed to get really complicated with...
I think they did that on purpose because they had they'd
already set up.
Yeah. So they just leave it there for a week, and then it made it easier to or cheaper
Yeah,
or something like that.
easier and cheaper from an organisation standpoint, but not so easy and cheap from a driver standpoint, I would imagine, considering everybody's footing the bill to get that stuff over there. It's just, I also find it interesting that it's being run, I would imagine it's being run under D1 again, but it'll just be interesting to see if there's been any changes with the DOS system and those sort of things leading into this event.
With all the complaints that the Americans had made.
Yeah, I don't think it's just necessary complaints, but it's hard when you've got a few guys, like the Russians did well and the Japanese did well, but the two Russian guys who did well last time were also had been driving D1 under the DOS system. So those guys knew the ins and outs of that system, and it did play into the favour of those guys who have had that in their car, and considering
that's normal though for judged events and things.
Oh yeah, 100%. So hopefully this time people will have a greater understanding, and maybe there'll be some more open information. But I guess when you're talking FIA and drifting, people are probably going to want to really win it and do that sort of thing. So yeah, it's definitely interesting to see what will come of that event and to see where and what drivers show up to that. It would be interesting to see if there's any Aussies actually gunning to try and get
it would be good
over
to see
there.
Australians over there, because I think they do better than some of the other competitors.
Yeah, maybe Luke will take his new S13 convertible straight after World Time Attack, put it in a shipping container and send it over there.
Well, he's looking for a new car for Ibisu, so maybe you can make that FIA approved and get that down to Tokyo.
That would, if he got to go over there, there's a couple of other Aussies that would be really cool to see over there. But yeah, hopefully we can get some Aussies over there and representing in that. But with plenty of lead-in time, we can only hope that somebody actually does do that.
Yep.
And then Tasmania DCA National Round, yes, is open. We did mention that in a previous episode, so get onto that. Also, I think entries soon for their state series will be opening up. I don't know if everything's confirmed just yet. I know that Luke and Tiana had been struggling to get fixed dates for their Super Matsuri off Tasmania Motorsport. And also, I think that we're around 2 weeks away from the start of the Archie DCA series starting up, and entries are open to that. So yeah, that should definitely be cool. And after getting to drive Archie on the weekend, and there being some of the locals are just driving like animals. Cash Kings and that sort of event are going to be up in the air this year, because some of the locals who know that track like the back of their hands now are going to be scary. And the fact that it was wet and they were still just absolutely killing each other was really cool. So if you're in Queensland, and hopefully we get some Queensland listeners from this one, either get out and have a look at the Archerfield Drift Park page and go out and support that event and watch, or jump in and have a drive. Definitely should be a good series. I'm not sure who Luke's got judging that yet, but yeah, that should be a good series. I think that's
one more is the applications for Bring the Bash 3 have
opened. Yes. Yeah, so, big announcement for Bring the Bash 3.
Yeah, they've got a new location at Port Macquarie. I don't know if they've actually had drifting there before.
As far as I'm aware, I can't imagine that they have.
It's a go-kart track, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it is a go-kart track. It actually looks a little bit like... what's the track in the US? The one in Portland that they go and do... I can't even think of the name of it.
Is it the one that Denofa always goes to?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. If I think it'll ring a bell if I heard it, but I can't remember what it is. Is it like that, or like, because when I looked at the map, it looked more like, it reminded me of Marulan, but I don't know if that's because inside heaps of trees.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, there's lots of trees and stuff like that, but it just seems a little bit smaller than what Marulan would be, a little bit tighter circuit.
Okay.
So that should definitely be cool. There's only 50 spots, and it is a sort of application-based event. So
you have to submit your picture of your car, I think, and some information about yourself and some nudes as well, I think it was.
Yeah, I think you had to send nudes, but I think you had to post the nudes to Facebook because you couldn't send them via email or something like that. So definitely get your nudes sent in if you are interested in driving that event. That I think that will actually be probably one of the events of the year because somewhere new. Yeah, it is a bit out of the way, but there should be a bunch of hype behind that event, and they're sort of taking drifting into. I don't think Port Macquarie's had a drift event before, so they're taking drifting somewhere new and hopefully gain a bit of a new audience on that one. So yeah, get your applications in. That's Cursed Sundays Drift Club. So have a look at their Facebook page and get onto that. I'm a bit annoyed because I think Jai is almost at his 300 likes that he told me he would be coming to Tasmania off the back of. Oh, he's at 299. And it actually falls on the same. Yeah, it falls on the same weekend as
hang on.
round 2 of DCA.
What's his page called?
What's his page called? It's Joy Dave Nah Drift hash 137.
299. Hey, guess what?
Is he at 300?
Hang on. Okay, check again.
Oh, he's at 300 likes. Jai, this is a call out, mate. You're about to lose a bunch of likes if you're not in Tassie. No Bring the Bash 3 for you, mate. We should be seeing you in Tasmania now. And I have a screenshot of that conversation, so we shall see you there.
Did you make sure you screenshot that 300 likes?
Yeah, okay. I'm going to get a screenshot of that 300 likes. Just give me a second. Come on, I put a call out on the page, and why does it keep going back to 247? 274, sorry. Oh, there we go. I'm going to get this. All right. Done. Jai, you're coming to Tasmania, mate. Get the boat booked. Let's see how quickly he can lose his followers if he's not in Tasmania.
Okay. Right. So that's it?
I think that's all the news for now. If you guys do have any news, I actually had the real Mitch Sanders, contact me, and he's going to give us updates from Vic Drift events.
Cool.
So if you listen and you do have inside info on different events and things like that, don't be afraid to either message myself or EG or just the Facebook page or the YouTube page. And yeah, we're happy to share that in the Drift News section. If you've got anything notable that you want shared on the Facebook page, we're more than happy to share that. Or yeah, sort of like what we did last week with Dylan with Rally to try and get some insider info on that. You know, we know.
Yeah. Keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, we know a few people, but if you guys want to be on here or have people that want to be on here, just get in contact with us, and we're more than happy to have you guys come on. So yeah.
We had a few people message about the What is Drift episode. Well, I did anyway. I'm not sure about you. And they're pretty interested to comment as well. So I'm not too sure how we can get them involved or commenting. There's some that want to express their views, which I think they're similar from what I read, but it could be that they're trying to add more things, or maybe they're completely different. I don't know. So
yeah,
we'll think about how to do that.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, or as I mentioned in that episode, EG will talk for hours about it if I can poke him in the right way to get him to talk about it. And a few people message being like, the other EG understands it all, but this other guy has no idea. I understand a lot of where EG's coming from, but in one of the first episodes, people said we were too much sharing a similar view. So sometimes I'll say things just to get EG to talk, because if I don't poke EG, he won't talk.
It just depends on the topic, I think.
Yeah. So
have you watched Initial D yet?
No, I haven't watched it anymore. Man, I've been.
Have you got through?
No, I'm still on episode 13.
So you're still not officially a drifter?
No, I'm still not officially a drifter yet. So we'll get there. We'll get there. So don't give me too much hassle. We had a big weekend, and I'm still recovering from the weekend and straight back into work. So, did you work yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
That's
I came
right,
home and I fell asleep on the couch, and I woke up this morning and went to work.
That's fair. That's fair. So let's speak about the weekend.
Yes.
You and I went up to our first ever QR Matsuri.
Yes. Yep, it's my first as well. I've been to QR, but never to a Matsuri. So
Have you driven QR before?
No, I was a passenger. I've been a passenger. And
yeah.
That's it. I've never driven around there.
Yeah. Okay. And I had driven it once previous to that.
So, yeah, it was interesting. For me personally, I liked the vibe. It was really cool. Like, I can understand some other people's comments that I've spoken to over the years, and they said go check it out. Even if you're not driving, go have a look. The vibe's cool. It has similarities to Japan, and yeah, I think it does. But then I spoke to some other people who'd been there regularly to the Matsuris, and they said that it's not like it used to be. But so it's kind of interesting to see different people's opinions, because for me, it's my first time. I thought it was cool, and I'd go back again. But then another person will be like, this is not as good as last year or the year before, and they're sort of losing interest.
Yeah, but do you think that's... I loved the event. I had a great time. Yeah, look, I think there are a few things that are a bit funny at that event compared to other events that I've been to, but the fact that we had the track from 8 a.m. till 10:30 on Saturday, I think till 10.
It was 10.
And then 8 a.m. till 5?
4
on Sunday. Saturday was just super cool. You could just sort of chill out, take your time getting on and off the track. There was no big rush. Yeah, we had the rainstorm that came through, but
oh yeah, that was intense.
yeah, it was. Yeah, the track ended up really messy and stuff after that. But yeah, just the relaxed vibe of that. You could take your time. There wasn't a crazy amount of cars on track. There were a lot of cars, but not a complete crazy amount of cars. So I really enjoyed that, just being able to come on and off the track as I pleased, and just be able to go and do laps on whichever section I felt like when I wanted to. And yeah, I love that. And yeah, definitely want to try and get back to one. But do you think sometimes people's opinion of it is because they've done it so many times that for them, when you eat the same food over and over again, it starts to become boring, where for them they've done QR Matsuri so many times that for them it starts to become, the last one was better?
I'm not too sure about that. I understand that. It's because that happens at events that I go to here. So, but around here they're just car shows or summer nats, but looking at things like summer nats, things do change. So it'd be nice to know exactly what has changed.
Yeah,
it could be that previously at Matsuris you could run. So at this one, we were told no passengers when you're doing tandems or trains. You can only go on a solo line, and I wonder if that used to be always the rule, or if that's something new that they might have introduced in the past year or so, or whenever. And so people that have gone there 5 years ago or 4 years ago, they didn't have that rule, or things like that. I'm not sure, and I can understand that ruins the vibe.
Yeah, it also slows down the traffic. I had a mate up in Queensland who came out and helped. The car was on its first shakedown since all the work had been done, and Russell came out and helped me all weekend, and I wanted to have him in the car as much as possible, but then it kills your sort of ability to be able to go out and tandem. So you sort of, it's a catch-22 with, it's fun to have somebody in the car, but then you can't have as much fun because you can't do the tandems. And it seems a bit crazy that I have a car with a full cage, 2 bucket seats, harnesses in both.
That's right.
On both seats, and I can't run a tandem with. I feel like I'm a fairly competent driver. I didn't have any major dramas over the weekend, and I feel like there should be no reason that I'm not allowed to run with a passenger in the car through some of those runs. I can understand in some circumstances that can be dangerous for people who are a little bit more reckless or don't have the safety equipment on board to not be allowed to tandem. Especially I think turns 3 through 6 is fairly safe under all circumstances.
Space. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're pushing away from the corners, like you're not sort of driving into each other. So as soon as a mistake happens, you just shoot off away from the train or the group that's drifting.
And it's also lower speed. Like entries would have been probably 80 kilometers an hour, maybe a little bit slower, a little bit faster, but I would say around the 80k mark. I
think it'd be. What did you do at Mount Gambier? Because I was in third. I was definitely in third.
Yeah, I was in third, but I would have been sort of similar to Mount Gambier, where I was clutch kicking middle of third gear, sort of.
Okay. Well, what speed were you getting in Mount Gambier? Because to me, it felt like I was actually faster than Mount Gambier.
I'm not sure because I wasn't my car, and
I don't have a speedo.
I didn't have a speedo, and that worked either because I didn't have it connected after I blew the box. But that was with 3.9 diff ratios and middle of third on a SR box. So I would say it would have been around the 80 to 90k mark, and I would say the entry into that from where we were was probably around the same because I was grabbing second into third and then fairly quickly into a clutch kick. So I would say anywhere from 80 to maybe 100k an hour. But really, under those circumstances, I would say that's a fairly safe speed. And then we're sort of carrying that through the whole section, probably dropping down to around 80 to 90 through the whole thing. So it is fairly safe. I can understand in the turn 2 through the dipper section, if somebody comes too hot through
straight
turn. Through turn 2 into that mungie into the dipper, then somebody could easily just run into somebody's door.
Yeah.
But again, you're probably more than likely going to torpedo the driver's side door of the lead car. So
there's been a few videos online where people have just driven into each other from the looks of the video for no reason. They've spun out, and then the car behind them has just gone to the side of them. Have you seen those videos?
But that's what I'm saying. But that's more than likely going to be in the driver's side door of the car in front. So
they can spin out as many times as they want.
Yeah. So I can understand that because that's a much quicker section than even the entry. I would say that's a much quicker section than even the entry to turn 3. So I can understand a little bit on that section, but the back section I don't understand the no tandem rule, and I think
even just having not no tandem, but no train. So if you only have 2 cars at a time, so just a pair, because I think the reason why they want to run no passengers is if there is a crash, then there's only a low amount of people, like it doubles when there's a passenger.
Yeah.
So if they just make it so it's 2 cars only with passengers, then I think that would improve the vibe a lot, and it'll actually speed up the track a little bit as well.
Yeah, definitely. And Sunday did get pretty crazy with wait times. So as I said, Saturday, I think because there was a lot more of a relaxed vibe, people were taking more time to come on and off the track than the rain coming and people heading home after it got dark. But then Sunday, I was probably one of the first 6 cars on track on Sunday morning at 8 a.m. And I was able just to fly past the marshals at between 1 and 2 and just fly into turn 2 probably for 6 to 8 laps without having to worry. And then what time was it? Probably 10 o'clock rolled around. It was like sitting on the M4 in Sydney. We were waiting like a good 20 minutes. It didn't matter if you're in the tandem line or the solo run line. It ended up 20-minute waits to get a lap in, which was a little bit frustrating. But I also think the slippery conditions from the night before played havoc a little bit. I think a few people got bogged in funny places again.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they went off track so far.
Definitely slippery. Yeah,
it was fun though.
Definitely fun. On Saturday night, I had Russell in the car and we'd gone out and we were hitting turn 2 through the dipper, and they sent me out for a lap. I came through, did the mungie to hit the dipper, and there was a car bogged down right in that little valley part near the tyre stack on the outside of the dipper. And I was like, oh, pulled out a drift and drove past him and then reinitiated. Came around for another lap. Same thing. Same poor dude. He's sitting there with his arm out the window, hazards on.
Trying to get your attention.
No, but the car was sitting super low. Like, it was probably up to the floor pan in the grass and in the mud.
Yeah.
I pulled around to the guys on the start line, and I'm like, are you guys aware that there's a car stuck on the outside of the dipper? And they're like, and they stand up on top of their own car to try and see this poor dude in this 180 who's like stuck in the dipper. And that was a little bit scary in some ways, because at least I had noticed he was there and was able to pull out a drift. But if my figuring is with a section, if a car is able to run off track into that part of the track, I can potentially end up where that car is, and that's a recipe for not a good time.
Yeah.
So that made me a little bit cautious of that. But yeah, that track, when it gets wet and people have kicked dirt onto the track, is so slippery.
Yeah. I almost spun so many times with other people in tows.
You had some good tandem runs during the wet session with Brett or Jimmy?
No, they were both out. It was that night, wasn't it?
Yeah, right near the end of the night, I think it was.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of people on the track spun out. I only get about 3 laps in my car before it overheats. So I think I got one run, which is kind of cool, and then both the other two, they were cool up until we saw a car stopped, and then you got to pull out and go straight, and then you can reinitiate. But yeah, they were really cool drivers. Like they know each other's driving really well, that they both initiated at the same time, which looks awesome from behind. It looks so cool. That's what I think would be a twin or tandem drift. The timing was so amazing. Yeah,
but it was a twin drift.
Yeah, and me on third, just sort of like trying to follow them. Yeah.
Yeah, these guys are two. They're actually twin brothers from Newcastle, members of the Marvel Drift team, and both driving 32s.
Yep.
EG was also in his 32. I think all RB20s.
No, well, mine isn't. Mine's 25.
Yours 25. Too much money, mate.
Too much. That was a cheap car, but it was a pretty beat up car to begin with. So, I think. I'm not sure I think one of them is 20 and the other one's 25. So
okay.
I'm not sure.
Which is which? I know one of them.
I couldn't even tell you which one Brent and Jimmy are.
Yeah.
I don't know which car they were driving. Like, if they switched cars, I wouldn't even tell the difference.
Well, the fact that one had facial hair and one didn't was the only difference that I could pick. So.
Yeah, that's all. Otherwise, they look so much the same. Apparently, even when they dress the same, some people can pick the difference, but I can't.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know them well enough, but they were definitely cool guys to have up there.
Yep.
And then we also had, I guess we had a few make the interstate trip up. We had 4 cars from Revolution Motorsport.
No, 5.
I think 4 cars.
No.
5?
Yeah, because the Crusader isn't painted yet.
Yeah, and then there was the 2 180s.
So
the 2 180s, the S14, and Nick in his 33, as well as the Cressy.
Yeah. Yep. So I think there was 5. The Crusader is going to be painted very soon.
Yeah.
And who else was there? There was also Sam from Wollongong. I think that's where he is, or Nowra.
Yeah, in his FD RX-7 with an SR20.
Okay.
And because I did a few runs with him, I wasn't sure. We had Sean, who's not officially one of the Marvel Drift guys, who spent his whole weekend trying to fix his car with us. When we were towing up on Friday, we were following this bright red RX-7, and I couldn't for the life of me work out who it was or where they had come from. And then...
Well, it didn't used to be red. It was black before.
Yeah, it was black. And he jumped on my door on a couple of runs, and I still hadn't registered who it was. And then when I was going to the bathroom, I had seen him like he was pitted near the bathroom, and I was like, finally, it's clicked as to who it was. But the funniest part is he hadn't registered that it was me driving that car. He thought it was Blake and Patterson driving that car.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah.
And then there was a guy from SA that brought I think it's Cliff
Clayson. Yeah, he used to drive Super Drift during Drift Australia in an FC RX-7. That car has been in the build for years. There was a build thread of that on Nissan Silvia, and
I think it's
only and it's only just been finished.
Oh, I don't think it's finished yet. It didn't really run the weekend.
Well, what I saw had happened was something happened with the diff mounting to the bottom of the car. It actually torn away from the car.
Yep.
And they ended up trying to weld that overnight, and then
that didn't work.
Yeah, it didn't work. They put it on the skid pan, and it looks like it's going to need some major repairs.
It still didn't run right either. Because I did you watch on the skid pan?
No.
Yeah, it wasn't running right. It sounded like Sean's car, and
yeah, fair. It's a rotary, so what do you expect?
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, it sounded bad, and so
then Jake Jones was also up from SA.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The Drift Squid. The Drift Squid was there in his Sunvia black car, not his BM, but his RBM3. So he was up as well, and I think he had a few heating issues on the first day, and then got that sorted for the second day.
Yeah, he bought a shroud from some of the guys there, and that's all I knew or noticed. There's probably other people there, because you mentioned that you followed a S13 back down to Sydney.
Yeah, I'm not sure who that was, and then there was from Team Red Stage there was EG. Then you had Jake O'Mara.
Yep.
Who's a really gun driver. I didn't actually get to drive with him at all. Every time he was out on track or his car was working, I had a passenger in the car, and I know he wanted to try and run into my car.
He could have. He's got enough skill.
And then Rob Moe lost a motor first run of the weekend, which was a bit shitty. Lost a head gasket, but it seems like there's probably bigger issues than that going on. And then Paul he did some of my favorite entries on Saturday night. I'm going to rave about Paul's entries. He was just doing big, massive flicks down into turn 3, and I was the car behind him in line. We weren't allowed to tandem because I think we both had passengers, but just watching him flick down into the dark was super cool, and I wanted to go and try it, except I didn't really feel like getting beached and trying that when I couldn't actually find a marker to work out where that corner was. It's half
hard.
The time.
Yeah,
you could. There was sort of the floodlight on it, but
yeah, and then you could kind of see the tire marks from the car before, like the impression that it left.
Yeah,
and then that was it. So, and then otherwise you're guessing, I think.
Yeah, so that was not so easy, but Paul's entries were sick, and hopefully he's supposed to be down at the Revo Day in a month's time, and I'll be down there, so I'm going to try and follow Paul and do a little bit behind him, because the dude's definitely got a bunch of skill in a pretty basic car, so that would be fun to jump in with him. And I think that's all the guys we sort of know that were from interstate. I'm sure there was a few more, but definitely good vibes. And I think we're almost due to have somebody ring in.
Cool.
We have a guest.
Should we try and connect them in?
Yes, let's try and connect them in.
All right, so this might drop out for a while, but
stand by.
Yeah, so in the actual stream, video or the cast, you shouldn't notice any delay.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Special guest coming up.
Okay, cool. All right, we'll try and connect him in.
All right, so special guest has just called in. We have with us.
On
Introduce
the other
yourself.
side.
He's on the other side of me?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I'm Joel McNabb. I run Gravy Garage up in Queensland.
And Gravy Garage is?
Drift team.
How long? How long have you guys?
Like me,
I know.
doesn't he?
Yeah, it's a little bit.
Yeah, short answers. They're cool,
So
aren't they?
you guys have a pretty big team up there. Sort of, how many guys have you got? What was the reason for the group being established, and what's sort of your team goal?
So currently we have 14 drivers, all of which aren't obviously driving at the moment, but there's 14 different cars that'll stick it up at some point in time. We originally started with two, myself and Ryan Atkinson, maybe about 6 or 7 years ago. Just started doing time attack racing and racing through the hills, and started drifting eventually, and people liked what we did, so we come up with a name. Started making stickers, and it's sort of just grown from there. But yeah, not too much to really extend. We're pretty big numbers wise now, so I don't think we'll be adding any more drivers as such. Just focus on who we've got at the moment and just keep doing events.
Yeah, so you guys aren't really competitive with, not competitive drifters. You guys just tend to get out and do as much driving as you can at the Matsuri and Bash type events?
Yeah, pretty much. So any sort of grassroots events we'll try and go to, especially up here in Queensland at Archerfield as well as Queensland Raceway. We also do once or twice a year go down to Raleigh, just south of Coffs, and we do a couple of events down there, and we're looking at extending a bit further this year. So we'll see what else we can get into, maybe extend further south.
Are you going to check out Bring the Bash? Did you hear about that? Organised by the Curse Sundays guys?
Yeah, so a few of us have applied for that, so we'll see if we get in.
Wow.
And then that'll be a little adventure.
Yeah, cool.
Well, Jesus, if 14 of them apply, there goes half the entries.
Yeah, that's it. that's a big ask getting that many cars running, but we'll see how we go.
I think it might upset a few people if 14 cars from one group come down. A lot of people might be upset if they don't get entries in because of it. But I think there should definitely be a few of you guys come down and do that event.
Yeah, hopefully new track as well, I've heard. So keen to have a look.
Yeah, and a little bit closer to for you guys than coming all the way down to Kembla or anything like that. So that should, hopefully.
Yeah, well, most of us are based on the sunny coast, so it's still probably about 7 hours for them. But myself and a couple others are on the Gold Coast, so it's about 5, so not too far.
Yeah, so as a Gold Coast local, how do you feel about those street lamps that have been turned into a Gold Coast sign?
Oh my god! I didn't even know what they were when I drove past them.
No, I've driven past them many times and never quite understood them. And actually seeing the photo, I still drive past and I don't know what they look like. But yeah, there's some more obvious ones out the front of the airport, like near my work, and it just says GC, which is a lot more readable. But yeah, the big ridiculous ones are a bit silly, I think.
Yeah, so for people who don't know, when I was driving up into Queensland, as halfway up the freeway just past the Gold Coast, there was all these random street lamps that were sort of stacked on top of each other and all looking a bit weird. And I had that moment of, oh my God, they've given some artist way too much money and freedom to do some weird crap for the Gold Coast 2018 Com Games. And one of my students who's from Queensland, who's down here with me in Sydney, told me, oh no, it's a big Gold Coast sign. And I've seen pictures of it, and supposedly you can only really see it from one spot. So $2 million well spent, Queensland government on that, with it for lights that you could have either put at QR or at Archerfield. So well done on that.
All faced the right way so you can actually read them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Well done on that one.
Yeah.
So I guess what car are you in? I know what car you're in, but tell everybody a little bit about your car before we dive too much into the QR Matsuri stuff, so that when people are having a look at pictures and stuff, they know which you're in.
Oh, okay. Yeah, mine's I think it's a 95 Nissan Silvia Zenki S14. It's a bit of a mix-up car. It's got a Skyline 2.5 litre engine. It's just super low, big kit, big wheels, and yeah, just sort of everything sort of works together.
How silly, a drift car that works. No, you got to live the Sydney pro town life and just too much power that everything breaks.
Yeah, well, it's surprising that more stuff doesn't break on it, so it's good.
Okay. What about more about your suspension setup and things like that?
It's pretty basic. We've got HSD coilovers in it, standard rear knuckles, gravy drop front knuckles, and then just basically all the adjustable arms to make it all work and handle a bit better. And yeah, it's got super wide track at the front, extended lower control arms, so I've just got RKO formula tie rods and KDS ends in there.
Yeah, cool. Have you done anything with the cross member? Have you moved the rack forward or anything?
Yeah, the rack's moved forward.
Okay, cool.
I had that done a long time ago, yeah.
And then anything in the rear with how low you guys are sitting cars, or is that all pretty, like subframe rises and all that sort of thing, or just...
Yeah, so it's got solid bushes in the subframe to move that up a little bit, but it's pretty much just slammed as far down as the coilovers go, pretty much.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
fair enough.
And then it just sort of, yeah.
Yeah, and a good amount of grip coming from those cars, considering, that you do have it absolutely sacked on the ground. I think EG was struggling to keep up with you a few times.
Yeah, I don't really understand how it can do it, because most people are surprised, even with high cars, I can still keep up with them.
Do you break many drive shafts and stuff because of it, or you never really had an issue?
Pretty much as soon as you drive the car, it blows the boots out. So you usually get one or two events before they get too noisy, and I just rebuild them.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. I've only probably ever had one or two breakages.
Okay, that's not too bad then. So for anybody playing at home that wants to go super low, just have a couple of rebuild kits for your CVs in the rear, and you should be set to go. This weekend's Matsuri, you guys had 3 cars there?
Yeah, I just had 3 cars out there. Just the usual, myself, Brent, and Tim. They both have 2 JS13s. So we're all out there all weekend.
Yep, and as far as Matsuris go, everybody told us that the first one of the year tends to be the quiet one, and that's why we got plenty of track time and stuff like that. But everybody says the October one, being a little bit further away from the halfway hangs, as well as that the weather tends to be better, tends to bring out a few more cars, and people have spent the year building cars. October was the original Matsuri. So before they went to 2 a year, so everyone focuses on that as being the headline event for the year. And then they added March just to cater for the people who missed out or want to drive more than just one a year. Yeah, and is that something you guys are aiming more for, with have more cars out for that, or it doesn't really matter for you guys? You guys try and have as many cars running as often as you can?
Yeah, we do try and have as many running as possible, but October usually is our big one. I think the most we've had there is 7 or 8 cars.
Yeah, cool. I've seen those photos. They look really cool.
Yeah, it's cool having all the cars lined up in front of the tent. It looks really good.
Yeah, and all the media that comes out of when you have so many cars there, and they always talk about, did you see the gravy train? It was crazy. It's awesome. And then they share the videos online, and everyone just goes, yeah, I want to go. And so this is the first time that we went. So it was cool. But, unfortunately there's only 3 of you guys there this weekend, or last weekend.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I guess I'm basically on my trial period. I have a good photo where I'm in front of 2 of the cars, so I figure that's my trial period, and maybe one day I can aspire to join the gravy train for real. I know Jake Jones is petitioning heavily to be allowed in, but I think you should definitely put him on the back burner, and definitely think about putting Gerg on there instead.
He's got some tough competition.
I know, I'm definitely tough competition. Thanks for the recognition. That means a lot to me.
His car's the right colour, so we might have to do something there.
Oh, actually, Greg's going to get a paint job soon. Anyway, I don't think you've decided yet, have you?
Oh, I don't even know if I want a paint job anymore. The car worked all weekend, which is the first time in a year and a half that I've got 2 days out of the car without anything major. So I'm like, maybe I just want to drive it and try and run into things now. Because it sort of works.
Yeah, that's usually what happens with drift cars, damage.
So I'm not sure. How did this weekend sort of compare to previous events? Me and EG had a great time. Thought the vibe overall for the event is super cool. There are a few little things here and there that we want to discuss with you and see if they're things that have happened previously or if there's anything that the scene can do to influence. But what did you think overall of last week's event compared to previous years or previous ones?
As you said before, the March Matsuri is usually a bit quieter. I thought this year was a fair bit more, especially at night time, a lot more quieter than previous years. They're really cracking down with security and alcohol and that sort of stuff, which does sort of dampen the mood a little bit and does end up being a bit quieter, but it's all in the past history of Matsuri. It's a good thing. But driving-wise, it's like...
That sounds like it'll be some interesting stories.
There's plenty of interesting stories and videos. but yeah, no, it's good for the drifting and the cars and the safety and all that sort of stuff. And on track especially, it's a lot quieter. You don't get the ridiculous lineups that you usually do. But I spend most of the time in the tandem line anyway, so I usually skip the line.
Yeah, that's one thing that I was going to bring up as well, because it seemed to sort of wreck the flow when tandem lines were no passengers, and so you'd get people trying to run passengers and they'll go on the solo line and it'll stack up a lot. So is this something that has changed recently? So maybe during the first couple of Matsuris they actually had passengers allowed and in the tandem line and something happened, or has it always been in place?
No, that's always been in place with drifting at QR. Yeah, it's just, I think it's part of their insurance. They just can't run tandems with passengers.
Yeah, fair enough. Is it something that, because I know the guys from Secret Drift sort of have a little bit of influence over what happens, is it something that they've tried to work with QR at all about, or is it just something everybody accepts and sort of has just sort of let go?
I think we've tried over the years to try and push for it, especially at Matsuri, because it is such a big event with lots of spectators. It obviously brings in a bit of money, so if the insurance was a bit more for that option, it would be worthy, but they just haven't budged on it ever, so it's kind of just been accepted now.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's a shame.
It is a shame. Now. I know, because you can go to places like Archerfield and Raleigh and they let you run tandems with passengers in there, and it makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean... sorry. Even...
DCA, we run 10-car trains with passengers in cars and all sorts of crazy stuff going on. So under the same insurers, so you'd think that maybe, just maybe, fingers crossed, one day they might let people do it.
Yeah, might let us do it. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, well, in Wakefield, down at our local track, they just make a restriction. So if you do have passengers, you have to have a roll cage, and that's it. So it'd be good if they just gave us a couple of options and we could do it, but we'll see. Yeah, okay.
Did you guys camp at the track?
Yes. All of us. One of the guys had to run off. He had another party to go to and then come back early Sunday morning. But yeah, we all usually camp at the track.
And do you think that is what brings part of the vibe to the ability to camp at the track and just hang out there for the whole weekend?
Yeah, so it brings like a really relaxed vibe about it all, because you don't have to rush off anywhere to go sleep or anything like that. Everything's there and you're set up for the weekend.
Yeah, and if people are coming from interstate or from anywhere, is it something you'd recommend to do? Just rough it and stay there overnight? It's definitely something worth part of the experience for QR Matsuri.
Yeah, definitely. We got rained out on Saturday night. Saturday night's usually a big thing for short track, but as soon as a couple of drops hit short track, it just turns to ice and you can't drive it, or it's very slow and difficult. So, usually Saturday night brings a big vibe over at short track with all the lights and the big crowd. So that's usually an October thing. So it's definitely worth camping out there if you're interstate.
Cool. Yeah, I have to try that next time.
Yeah, we are talking about maybe trying to get up there for the October one, but part of it is the fact that everybody's like, the lines are way longer, so it's like, do you risk it, or do you just sort of just go and do it and enjoy the vibes?
Yeah, just enjoy the vibes and try and spend as much time as you can in the tandem line.
Yeah. I think next time I'll be kicking passengers out.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see.
I was going to ask something, but I've forgotten.
Yeah, I'm not really a question type person either, so.
Come on. You're the one who was jumping in tandems with these guys, so.
Me? No, I didn't get a chance to. So I know one of the Gravy guys actually came up behind me when I was with Hall, but I can't remember who, and my action cam didn't record the run because I stupidly recorded me in the pits rather than me on the track.
Oh, I got the opposite.
I got the sync wrong. Yeah. So I kept turning it on when I was in the pits, and then when I got the track, I turned it off, and then and that sucked. So
from the pictures, it was an S13 with a JZ.
Yeah, I think it was Tim because I saw a couple of photos of him chasing a couple of people, so it must have been that time.
Okay.
Yeah, so that'll be Tim.
Yeah. So I didn't really notice him until right at the end. Anyway, coming out of turn 6, sorry. Turn 6, yeah. Yeah. So.
Oh, I have a big question. Why is it that Queenslanders wait until they're halfway through turn 2 when they're running the dipper section to enter that corner rather than entering before turn 2?
Because usually they don't get a run up long enough to get enough speed.
So many.
Yeah, you can hold back at the line and try and get enough speed, but unless you got big power, it's really hard from where they got the lines to like smash through your gears and get going quick enough.
Are you in fourth?
Sorry?
Are you in fourth gear when you go around that corner?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I kept going first, second, third, kick, and then changed to fourth. But then I needed a bit higher pressure to actually get through that to get into the dipper. So I think it was doable though, because I don't have much power, not compared to other people anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, my car bogs down a little bit around there too, but it's always done that no matter how much power it had.
Oh, really?
I don't know what's wrong. Yeah, but most people is fourth, and if you hold back from the line a little bit, you should be able to do it.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, if you do a morning session ever at QR, they open the track up and you can do the turn 1 to 2, and that's a one flick entry into turn 2 from turn 1, and that puts you in the right zone to go around there real quick.
Wow.
Yeah,
so it's lots of fun.
I did a morning session last year. I think you may have been out there for that one. It was the one in June, and I think I was pitted near you. That's when the car was still sticking up, and hitting turn 1 in fourth is definitely the way to go. I heard rumours that sometimes it'll happen at Matsuri if everybody's well behaved and the driver numbers are low, or everybody's broken by late Sunday afternoon, but it didn't seem like that went down at this one.
Yeah, it must have been too many people on track still, so they didn't change it. It's hard. It builds a big lineup being only one track.
Yeah, but that's happened previous years though at Matsuri. They have occasionally opened turn 1 for people to run.
Yeah, I think once or twice they have done it.
Yeah. So it's not some mythical creature that doesn't actually exist that everybody talks about. It has happened, and if you are lucky.
Happened.
Yeah. Come on, EG, you got to throw some stuff out there, mate.
I'm trying to think
you had a list.
A decent question. I should have made a list, but I didn't. So in the future, I will make a list and I'll rack my brain for days on end. But I think we only sort of started discussing this sort of thing last couple of days. Yeah. So it wasn't very long.
And you're only ever our second guest, and you're our first guest that we have never met before.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
So
sort of worked out then.
Yeah. I guess the Matsuri vibe and the Matsuri sort of movement where there's a split between the sort of the guys who are doing the Bring the Bash style and Matsuri style events over the competition events. Are you guys interested at all in the competition side, and with things like the Archie comp starting up, is that something you guys or any of you guys on that team are looking at, or is it sort of not not a border you guys sort of cross over at all?
Doesn't really appeal to us too much. We did a comp at Archie, it was maybe early last year or the year before. A few of the guys drove in and had a lot of fun, but still sort of it's a different vibe between the competition guys and what we do. We're just purely in it for fun, whereas they take it a bit too serious and it sort of brings the mood down a bit.
Yeah. And with Luke's takeover of Archie, I know you guys have been there a fair bit now. What's your general impression of the Queensland scene now and the changing Queensland scene, I guess, with the fact that now you do have the option to have QR with its morning session and Friday nights. You've got the occasional short course and the fact that you can go to Archie once a week and go and thrash out, and the fact that it's a much to be.
Yeah, definitely. He's done amazing things with the track, opened it up heaps, and you can carry heaps more speed through the main straight into that hairpin entry. It's a lot of fun, and there's so many events now playing about track time because, as you said, you can go any week and get a drift day in.
And is that something you guys are exploiting?
Probably not so much because our cars aren't as simple as they used to be, so it's a bit more of an exercise and a bit more expensive to go every week, and it's hard with dealing with so many people and work and those sort of things. So we do usually try and focus on bigger events, and we use those practice days to test cars and just go out for a play if a couple of people are keen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not like we're going out every week. I just can't really afford to do it.
Yeah, definitely. I dipped early on. I was trying to get up there for Thursday to try and hit Archie before QR, but that didn't work out because my car was still in pieces. But I dipped early on Sunday and went out and did the afternoon session at Archie and got to drive, since they've removed the wall on the front straight that was in front of the canteen and put that Nico drop in. And yeah, definitely good fun, even though it was wet out there. But I'm really jealous of the scene you guys currently have going on up there, because to be able to drive once a week or every couple of weeks between QR and Archie is definitely the dream compared to our little crappy concrete skid pad that we've got going on down here. You should come down and drive it. You should definitely make the 11-hour trip down here to drive on our concrete skid pad.
Yeah, sounds good. You're selling it really well.
So with you guys saying that you're going to head further south, is that only going to be looking at doing the Port Macquarie event, or are you guys looking at trying to get down to things like either a Wakefield day or right down to a Winton Matsuri and that sort of thing?
I guess we haven't discussed it too much. We've been seeing some of the progress from the new Tail and Bend. That's obviously a lot further down.
Yeah.
But if we do end up deciding to do a trip down that far, I guess we will have to stop in at a couple of the other tracks and see what's going on the adventure. But at the moment, we're just looking at Bring the Bash, and Japnats is next month as well.
What's the Japnats event?
So that's a weekend at QR. So the Saturday is sprint racing and the Sunday is drifting, and it's just purely Japanese cars. So they run the Matsuri layout on the Sunday for drifting. So you got short track, skid pan, and full track open all day Sunday, and it's for Japanese cars only. So it's the same sort of vibe as the Matsuri guys experienced last week, but just gives us another chance to drive. Yeah, it's really good.
And that's one of the few Sunday events that you guys would get other than a Matsuri to be able to drift QR, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
because you're normally restricted to a Tuesday or a Thursday or something morning session and a couple of Friday nights throughout the year.
Yeah. Friday nights usually happen every 2 or 3 weeks, and then the morning sessions are once a month, and they're during the week.
Yeah.
So, how often do you guys go out and practice together? Because you guys are pretty, I guess, tight on the train and 10 sort of stuff. So,
yeah,
do you get to practice every time there's a morning session?
No, not so much. Myself, Tim, and Brent, who you saw at Matsuri, are probably the ones that drive together and drive the most out of the team. So we're all very confident in each other, and that's why we can drive so close. But really getting out to practice, apart from halfway hangs, I don't think we've driven since November. So it's usually every couple of months we'll try and get out there and have a go.
So you have to try and G up all the members to go out together, or is it more a case of is your car working? Okay, let's go kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty much. If I usually can't handle too much longer than a month without driving, so I'll hit up any of the other guys and see whose cars are working, and if they want to do an Archie day or morning session or something like that, go out for a play.
Yeah, and you guys, from bits and pieces that I saw when I wasn't either on track or trying to help one of the other guys from New South Wales get his car back up and running, not afraid to run into each other. Not at all afraid to get in close to each other.
Yeah, we usually try and keep a bit of distance over the earlier parts of Matsuri, but Sunday afternoon was something else. We kind of got quite a few paint marks and tyre marks and dings and bumpers off, towards the end of Sunday, because we weren't holding back at all.
Yeah, and you guys had fresh cars. These looks for these cars were fresh for halfway hangs, right? Compared to last season?
No, we had them last year. I think I did them for Power Cruise. We did the demos for in September last year. Yeah, so they've been around since then, and I think I've sticked up 6 cars at the moment.
Okay.
In the design, yeah.
And is that something you do in-house? Is that something that you're personally doing?
Yeah, so I do all of the paint and panel on all the cars. I think I've painted 12 of them myself now. And then we've got our own plotter. So I cut all the vinyl and apply it all myself.
And is that your day job?
No, not at all. I'm an aircraft mechanic. So I got to do that after hours.
I was going to let you have a shameless plug and plug the business, but clearly a man of many trades. And
can't really afford to pay other people to do it, so I just teach myself.
Yeah, that's pretty normal.
And are the other guys paying you to do their work or paying for their stuff, or it's you're in charge of making sure that the team's looking pretty?
They pay for materials, and then that's it. I don't really charge for labour.
Oh, you're the dressmaker.
Yeah,
you've got to keep them looking pretty.
I got to keep the continuous bog and paint going.
So you're the reason that you're telling everybody. You're the reason that they try and stay clean for the first part of the weekend, because you're like, I don't want to have to fix it, and then you start to get loose yourself. So there's not much excuse, really.
Yeah, that's right. We can usually hold out enough damage for a couple of events before you got to refresh the car. So nothing really too bad come from the weekend. So it's pretty good.
Cool.
No, definitely cool to know that you guys are doing all that stuff in-house, and the fact that it's not anybody's day job, and you guys do manage to come out with cars looking pretty fresh and clean every single event. And I guess that's another big part of the Queensland Matsuri culture is sort of the good-looking cars, low cars, big wheels. Is that something that's sort of been an organic process in Queensland, or is that just somebody started doing it and everybody followed, or is that sort of an unwritten rule that putting nice cars out at Matsuri is, I guess, what people try and do?
Yeah, it's just the thing people try and get ready for, as it's one of the biggest events for the year. So, I don't know, I guess in our team we draw a lot of our style from Japan and the States. And I guess the whole grassroots, big wheels, low cars with big kits, all sort of comes across, and especially with the vinyl as well.
Cool. No, I definitely I like this year's look, or the current look. Definitely cool. Not that the other look was bad, but this look is definitely way cooler. And it seems like the Team Kamikaze guys have tried to take you off a little bit.
They're very similar, aren't they?
Oh, it's similar sort of idea, but they are very different. And they've only just started cutting their own vinyl and putting their own stickers on as well. So I think with a bit of time, we'll see their designs grow. So it's good. It was a last-minute rush for them, but Yeah, no, we're stoked that other people are trying to do their own stuff and create their own look. It's really good.
Because when they were driving with you guys, they kind of blended in sometimes.
Blended in, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one of the team, one or both of the team, I think only one of the Team Kamikaze guys did Cash Kings last year, and I think he hit the wall pretty heavy in his battle, and he probably needed a good freshen up before this one. So
yeah, well, I think there was 3 or 4 of their cars got painted just before this Matsuri, so they've done a big freshen up as well.
Yeah, see, New South Wales needs a Matsuri so that people will have a reason to get their cars cleaned up.
Yeah, tidy them all up. It's good.
Oh, they did have Matsuris before you were around, I think.
Yeah, but I don't know. It was competitive Matsuri where I think we need something.
In there. Yeah, that was the issue.
Yeah.
People didn't want the comp, but they did, and they didn't want the comp, and it just happened. But yeah. So you were saying that Gravy Garage started off with 2 people. So how did you bring new members in? Like, is that something that you asked, or the people approached you? Or like, is there a selection process or something like that?
I don't know. Just they're all really good friends of mine, especially, and then everyone gets along as well. So I guess you got to party hard and drive hard, and then it all just sort of ends up. You get your car painted and stickered. It just sort of happens.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not like that. You can just like walk in. I guess it's sort of a bit of a period before, and then I think with the last 5 or 6 members I've added to the team, I've put it to the group and said, well, what about this guy? He's been hanging around, partying with us for ages and starting to drive really well. Should we do it?
Okay.
So the team does have a say. It's not my final say.
So what you're really saying is you go up to your local toge and it's the battle to the death. And if somebody survives, then there's a potential that they may be able to join the team, and then they have to do shots with you at the bar. And if they can do more shots than you, then they're in, basically.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, that's a way better selection. I think that's something you should definitely look into.
Yeah, more so initiation. It's good.
See how your liver goes after too many initiations, I guess.
Yeah.
If you guys will sort of, if big events happen in other places, it's something that you guys might come down to. I know that there's potentially some stuff hopefully happening in Sydney with the fact that there's Luddenham opening up, and we might not be allowed to drive that for another 12 to 24 months. But if things like that and we can get 2-day events happening down here, would you guys be looking at? Did you guys come down to bring the bash at Kembla?
Don't think any of us went down from what I remember. Okay. Yeah, because that was that small go-kart track as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing lots of photos. I'm pretty sure I found out the day that it was on about it, so I didn't actually know about it. Yeah.
And then Halfway Hangs is a regular event for you guys, or not a regular event for you guys?
Yeah, it is. We've been going there since the first one.
Okay. Yeah.
I have a quick question.
Yeah, go for it.
This because it relates to Gerg. Have you watched Initial D?
Yes.
Okay, see? Told you. And so
why are you so mean to me?
Gerg hasn't watched Initial D.
Oh, at all?
No,
I'm up to
not even like the movie.
No,
there's a movie.
Yeah. So
I'm only up. I'm up to episode 13.
Oh, okay, that's good. At least you've started.
I got yelled at on the last episode, so I had to start watching.
So now you're just forced. You don't even want to.
Yeah. Well, no, it's good, and it's been funny to watch it after, because if you go back and watch any of our videos, you'll see so much of what EG said is influenced by that show. So I'm not sure if it's good that he's influenced by a cartoon or not influenced by a cartoon. But yeah, I'm getting there, EG. All right, he told me I'm not allowed to watch it dubbed. I've got to watch it subbed. So I've got to have 20 minutes to sit there and read. If I'm not watching it, then I miss out on a whole bunch of the points. So
that's good. I did it right then. I watched it subbed.
Yes.
See, I've got to learn how to. But reading is difficult for me too. So just don't pick on me too much.
You have to keep pausing it.
Yeah, look up what this word means and stuff. So, yeah, made me lose my any hidden secrets happening in Queensland? Are you guys going out to the Gatton event this weekend or anything like that?
No, it's a bit too close to halfway in Matsuri, so we're not heading out there.
Yeah. Any other hidden secrets in Queensland? Not that street carnage video, but just sort of any.
The street carnage or the kamikaze video?
Oh, the kamikaze, that one. Yeah.
That's half the reason they changed their look.
Okay, that's fair. But anything sort of happening up there that people don't really know about, or is it all fairly public at the moment as to sort of what's happening in the Queensland scene?
No, it's all sort of fairly public. We've been in talks to run our own event up here, but we're still trying to figure that out, so there's nothing really set up yet. Yeah,
and is that a track that already exists, or is that something that you guys are all sort of chasing in the background somewhere else?
No, it'll probably be at a track that already exists, yeah.
Okay, I'm so excited to be able to run tandems with passengers at QR because Gravy Train's running it. That's first on the news here. We're up for that one.
Yeah. Well, they let us do it at Power Cruise, so we'll see if we can get it to Matsuri.
Ooh, all right.
There's one for Neil if he's watching.
All right. No, definitely cool, and hopefully that can happen. And I'm not sure my car will be cool enough for it, but we'll see what happens.
We'll change it.
We'll change the look. Oh,
yeah,
that costs money, and I spend too much money on stupid motors and crap like that.
No, but now you don't need to.
Hopefully.
If so, you saw Greg's car on the weekend, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
So what sort of wheels or styling do you think Greg should do? Because he's trying to change his look. So
change the looks. What wheels does he have on it now?
I have genuine 7.3 ET road grids.
Right. Oh, okay.
The poor guy feels like I just gave him AIDS.
Well, any of the one-piece wheels are cheap. Any Japanese stuff, especially second-hand, that's an easy way to go. But I'm all about the dish and the bigger sort of wheels.
So what do you think would suit Greg's car? And if he was to change his looks a little bit, what would you recommend?
Well, it's a tough one. Work's got a lot of good ones. The CR2Ps are definitely my favourite at the moment.
They're like $3,000 a set
right.
wheels.
You're a pro drifter. You can afford that.
Yeah. Just sell the other ones.
Yeah, sell the other ones for the whole $800. Yeah, the whole $800 I'll get back for my 10 wheels.
Yeah, that's a good deposit.
Yeah, good deposit for my 2 wheels or my 1 wheel, whatever I'll get back for that. No, my car's working at the moment. I just want to go run into stuff now.
Yeah, just keep driving. That's the key.
Hopefully a red R32 Skyline I can go and run into.
I'm going to run into you.
You said you were going to run into me, mate, but you didn't run into me all weekend.
Too fast.
Yeah, didn't you have all last weekend to do that?
Yeah, exactly, but he just couldn't keep up with me.
I was sharing my car as well.
Yeah, and I was being soft and taking passengers and not running tandems.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Next time. So when you're
notable drivers,
no,
go.
Yeah. So Gravy Garage is known for tandems and the trains. So is there anything that you sort of advice that you give to your other teammates when you do start running those trains? Like, you should aim for the front wheel, or just I don't know, something like that. Do you give them advice, or do you have a chat afterwards, like saying, yeah, that was cool, but do this kind of thing?
Yeah, definitely. We've got a few sort of, they're not so much rules, but like words of advice give to anyone sort of in Gravy that's going to run trains and that sort of stuff. Lead car's definitely the hardest, and that's why my nickname's Leader, because I'm always out in front half the time. But I have been chasing a lot more lately, which has been really good for my driving. But the lead car, obviously, you don't want to go flat out because that's when you make mistakes. So you want to go through at a good pace, sort of in the middle of the track, so it doesn't run the people following you out of track or on the inside. So it's sort of, you just want a good steady pace the whole way through the track and try and keep your lines consistent. And then it makes it a lot easier for people chasing.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And anything for the chase cars?
Chase cars, not really. You just chase to where you're comfortable with. Don't sort of make abrupt movements that is going to cause you to have spin outs or whatever. And if you do spin out, you keep it planted and go to the inside of the track so people can go around you. You don't try and save it. Once you know you're going to spin, you get out of the way, because we've had a lot of incidents in the past, especially with people that aren't in gravy, spinning out in front of us and ending up in accidents. So we do have a few words of advice, really, that I give to everyone jumping in our trains.
Yeah, and then events like on the weekend where there are a lot of guys that you may have never seen before, do you sort of suss out what we're like before you're willing to jump in line with us, or do you sort of just go, oh, screw it, I'll jump in with them, but I'll hang back a couple of car lengths, and then after a run like that go, okay, this person's fairly safe, we can safely jump on the back of them?
Yeah, definitely, especially leading, where I'm very wary of chasing people. So I've had enough accidents in the past, so if I don't know the person at all, I'll either just let them go or hang back. It's not that I don't like that person, it's just I've never seen them drive before, so I'm not going to be confident chasing. What we tell everyone who wants to jump in our trains is just go behind us and watch how we do it and what lines we take, so they can get used to it. Because if somebody jumps in the front and they're doing something totally different to us, it just messes everything up. So it's best to chase for a while and then work your way up, and then if we're confident, we'll let you run up the front. Yeah,
you guys from the photo that came up on Facebook, you were behind me and you already jumped up on me, so that gives me a little bit of confidence in my driving that you were willing to jump up on me. But
that's right.
I did get abused by Luke Fink on Saturday, because there was one train, I'm not sure if you're in that, but the S13s were definitely in it, where EG and Paul from Team Red Stage were out in front. I was behind them, and then you guys were in behind me, and one of you guys tucked in underneath me really far on the link between 3 and 6, and I sort of shit my pants a little bit and sort of backed out of it, and Luke yelled at me for ruining a 10-car train because I'm a pussy, and basically he said, don't worry about the car behind you, switch back in front of them when you're supposed to switch back, and it's their job to stay out of your way. So he was
it would have been, I think, in his saying, it would have been right with the gravy dudes or some of the better drivers. You could have done that. But especially if you were worried about who was actually behind you, I guess you took the safer option. But I wasn't in that train, because I don't remember chasing that many people outside of gravy on the weekend.
Yeah, well, he threatened to kick me in the dick, which he does often. So, but that's Luke for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. What else, EG? Anything? Any notable drivers from Queensland that were driving that event that aren't part of gravy and that you give props to and that sort of thing? I know EG had a few notable guys, like the guy in the yellow S13 went pretty hard all weekend, and I think he had a run in with Jake Jones where they had a bit of a coming together. Anybody else sort of notable out there that isn't part of your crew?
So Kamikaze's got 2 or 3 good drivers now. They're really interesting to watch. Hayden, Brett, and Braden are all really good. They've been driving heaps together lately, so yeah, they're pushing forward a lot. I guess Mumbles in the Black 86 is always a good time to watch. The thing's got a 2J in it. It's off its head, and so is his Mrs. Tiff in the yellow R32. It's also got a 2J in it. They actually had a little coming together, but both of them are really exciting to watch. And I don't know if you saw the red JZX 100 out there, Trent. that thing's off its head, and
Yeah.
it's like, he hasn't been out for a while, so he had a few little issues on track, but when that thing's on song, it's insane.
That's the JPP car that found the fence on Sunday?
Yeah, that one.
Okay. Yeah, I missed that accident. I think I had already packed up. I was getting the car ready to head out to Archie at that stage, but it seemed like, sadly that one took a bit of a decent hit. I'm not sure exactly what happened with that one.
Oh yeah, he was chasing us, and it was the first time using brand new semi-6, and they gripped up on him. He just didn't go in hard enough and shot him into the wall.
Ah, Jesus. So that's a competition car that he's trying to look at doing something like high-tech? Is that why he's on semis, or he's just on semis to try and go fast?
He's just on semis to try and go fast. So we might, he drives with us a lot. He drove with us heaps in Japan and hangs out with us heaps here as well.
Yeah.
So probably try and get him back onto normal 265s for a while.
Yeah, I think you can definitely get a lot more if you can push cars to get more mechanical grip rather than compensating with rubber. It can be, I think, a lot safer because
and semis are very
can be
unforgiving as police stand.
Yeah. When you make a mistake, the car wants to go straight, and also breaks things when you try and bag them up again when things like that have happened. Anything else notable from the weekend or anything that you want to plug or give a shout out for your guys' stuff? I know if you want to give us your Facebook, Instagram, if you guys are selling, do you guys sell merch and stuff like that?
Yeah, we do. We sold merch on the weekend, just thanks to all the supporters for coming and buying shirts and stickers off us. It was pretty amazing. I don't know whether you guys saw it, all the gravy shirts rocking around the pits and the track.
Yeah, sorry, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
it's really hard to miss your stand at the end as well.
Yeah, well, we get the same spot pretty much any big event, so it's really good, and everyone supports us really well. And we had new designs on the weekend, so it was pretty cool seeing everybody actually, as soon as they bought the shirt, they were putting it on and walking around the pits, so it was really cool.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Gravy Garage, pretty much anywhere. We've got our own website as well. Gives you a rundown on the 14 drivers, what they drive, a few basic things about the car and themselves, and photos and that sort of thing, so you can put your faces to the cars. And any of the socials, Gravy's easy to find.
And you're selling, the merchandise is available online, or they just contact you guys through?
Yeah, we've got a store on the website.
Yep.
So it's not online at this time. I've got to do a restock after Matsuri, and then I'll put it back up.
Yeah, and that's something that you guys basically go straight back into you guys driving and helps repair cars and keep cars clean and tidy, event to event.
Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty much just a buffer account for me. So I purchase all the paint and bodywork and vinyl and that sort of stuff, and then the boys' money goes back into it once they pay for all the parts, and then I use that money to buy more merch, and we bought the gravy tent and all that sort of stuff from it. So it all goes back into the team.
Yeah, no, it's definitely cool and interesting to hear, considering you guys aren't a club and you're not open to everybody, how you guys sort of structure your things and make it work as a group, even though, you've got guys who are new to the team, not new to the team, and you use that sort of thing to keep it going, and you're not trying to build pro-spec crazy cars using that money. It's purely just to help make up the back end of it and keep everything looking presentable and keeping you guys on track. I think a lot of people can learn from what you guys are doing, because I would say fairly confidently that you guys would probably be one of the bigger crews in the country at this time, I would guess. Would you agree with that, EG, or are you totally lost?
Sorry, just having lots of internet issues at the moment. That's all.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it is definitely, like, I've check out your website, and it's huge. I didn't realize that there were so many drivers in your group team. Team. Yeah, it was like, what did you say, 14? Before I thought it was only maybe about 5 or 7 initially, because all the photos, and I guess it's hard to identify how many people are actually in there when you see photos of similar cars together, and you see them in a row, but you sometimes don't see that they're different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was cool.
It is kind of hard. So I've tried to do that with the website and give a little bit of a different view for each car and the person who actually drives it.
Yeah, it's cool. Definitely, it would be cool to see you guys at more events, just sort of doing this team thing, because that's one thing that I'd like to see is like when you see all the same painted cars, same style cars just turn up, and they just have like this sort of presence, and it looks awesome. And then when they drive well, that's even better, because we've seen sometimes before they've turned up and they looked really nice together, but then they're sort of like not very skilled, and it's not as you sort of let down a little bit. But yeah, seeing you guys in your videos and photos and things like that, it looks awesome. So it'd be good to see you at a lot more events and I guess represent, because it looks professional as well. And that's one thing that it gets missed sometimes with drifting.
Yeah, for sure. We always try and be as friendly as we can to people, and always go up to people who are looking at the cars and try and have a chat. And we're always easily approachable in the tent. So that's what we try and strive for. We're not better than anyone else, obviously. So we just try and help people if they've got questions or they tell us about their cars and all that sort of stuff. We're just normal like everyone else.
Yeah, well, I think there's definitely lessons to be learnt from guys who are just doing grassroots events and guys who are doing pro level or just competition level drifting from you guys, and the attitude that you guys take towards car presentation, team presentation is definitely something that's worth cleaning up. So yeah, I guess we should let you go at this stage. It's late on a Wednesday night, so thank you for coming on. We only hit you up 24 hours ago to jump on, so thank you for coming on, and this should be up later in the week, and hopefully we catch you heading down south, or we might be back up there in in October. And I think potentially we will be up there for DCA in August, so I might try and do the Thursday morning session between DCA and Cash King. So if some of you guys are out there definitely interested in jumping on door again with you guys, and I can continue my trial period with the team.
Keep it going.
Yeah, that's it.
See how you go before October.
That's it. Or maybe I can leave mine up there to get it cleaned up, and I can be gravy by October.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Luke does storage, so he can sort you out.
Yeah, I'm sure he would sort me out. All right, so we'll let you go, and thank you for coming on, and we'll definitely be in touch again.
All right, thanks for having me on, guys. It's been a pleasure.
That's all right. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
So that was Joel. What did you think?
It was cool to catch up, and as I said when he was on there, there is a lot, I think, from the way those guys are set up that can be learnt from guys wanting to compete or even just wanting to create a presence in the drift community. The clean look that those guys bring makes it look professional, even though they're not dudes looking to be professional drifters in the sense of competition guys. But if anybody will one day become professional drifters, they're the sort of guys who will potentially be able to do it and make some money from it, because they do have a good clean presence and a good following. And that's what it seems like sponsors are looking for more and more, is looking for guys like them who are making content and sort of have that presence to show their brand.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they get approached by sponsors without actually having to approach them. And get some similar deal like the Hit and Run guys did, because they got sponsorship. I'm not too sure if they approached them or not, but their deal was, from my point of view, was quite good when they received sponsors, because they don't compete. Well, not really. They have done some ADGP rounds and some other sort of comps, but they're not competitive drivers. They're just there to have fun, show off their cars, and I think it's good because it makes it look like those guys look so much more professional than some of the pro drivers that are around, I guess, at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, so guys, take some lessons from that. If you're wanting to try and get some sponsorship and do that sort of thing, look at guys like them and the way they've got their stuff set up. And yes, it makes it easier on them. The fact that they've got a big team of guys who can lend a support, the supporting roles going on. But it seems like Joel's taken on a lot of the burden of that. And yeah, make it happen. Even if you're not planning on competing, you can definitely create a more professional, clean look. And as he just told us off camera that they got approached to do some social media stuff with a French company for TV over there. So yeah, look, it really does sing out that not just having a pro level car, but having a good clean image, it goes a long way. So yeah, no, definitely cool. October Matsuri, I'm starting to get more and more keen. I'll see if dates can work for me. But it's money, but it's like, I don't know. It's cool. I think it's like, yeah, it's a bit of a drug you get addicted to. I
like the vibe. I really do like. I want to go there. If I go there next time, I want to spend a bit more time there as well. And I do want to do Archie as well. But if I spend more time there, that's more money that I spend. And
Meh. Sell one of your 55 cars. Sell one of your cars, mate.
I've got to sell one of my cars to get to Japan. Anyway, and
you're down to 54. Sell one more, then you're down to 53. You'll be all right, mate.
The car I'm selling probably has the most value out of all of them.
Have you still got 2 kidneys?
I don't know. There's been some hazy nights that I've had in the last couple of years, and I haven't really checked. I've got scars everywhere, so.
Oh, so you might not. Okay, you could still part of your liver, I guess. Then, so you never know.
But, maybe.
Yeah. I guess that was anything else from Queensland Matsuri away from Joel that you wanted to bring up, or not really?
No, there was some it's pretty good. There's some cool drivers. When I finally did get some tandem runs in with people, there was some pretty good runs I had. I think, like you mentioned, there was a S13, which I thought was really cool, and the Corolla, the K70. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Actually, I can't even tell the difference between A71 or whatever.
The one with the V8 in it.
I don't think so, because he was kind of slow.
Because there was like a whitey beige one, and then there was a darker, like greeny beigey sort of coloured one that had some stickers down the side that I'm pretty sure was V8.
No, I don't remember any stickers on it.
Okay, but I think I know the one you were talking about. I chased him a few times on turn 2 through the dipper, and yeah, he was good. He didn't do turn 2, but just flicked it hard down into the dipper. But I think one time I was behind him, he probably got a little bit intimidated by the fact that I just jumped on him through turn 2 and just didn't really care and wanted to see what he was going to do. So definitely a cool event, and I would like to get back there.
Yeah, I didn't think you enjoyed it very much.
Really?
Yeah, that's the sort of feeling that I got. You're like, I'm going to go to Archerfield. Like, why? This thing's pretty cool. Like, I can understand wanting to go to Archerfield because I want to go as well. But
yeah, no, I wanted to go to Archie because considering I had done a couple of trips to the track as it progressed through last year, and they've had the major changes done, I felt like I had a decent fill of QR, and the fact that we had then. You jumped in passenger with me, and I did 2 laps in like 40 minutes. So I was like,
that was long.
Yeah, I've had a good fill of. Yeah, I've had a good fill of driving. So let's jump down to Archie and have a couple of hours where I can see a different track. I didn't even when I went to Archie. I think I did 3 sessions. I only jumped on track 3 or 4 times. And just wanted to test out the new layout, and then I sort of packed it up. After the long day on Saturday, I'd pretty much had enough. So and then it seemed like to me there wasn't enough structure for you, like having the Matsuri style kind of thing where there wasn't really sort of set things. I didn't think. I think the worst thing that I did, even though it was a good thing, was being in the carport. So me being in the carport on my own without any of you guys around meant that I was sheltered when we got the really bad rain, but I missed out on when you guys were sort of heading out on track. I would go out on my own and then go do a bunch of laps, get the car hot, and then come in to let the car sit. And then the guys that I knew would start going out on track. Yeah. And they'd be like, oh, crap, like I'm trying to cool down the car. So, yeah, if I was to do it again, I would try and get a little bit more structured and find out if there's a few more guys going who wanted carports or share a garage like you guys did, or do that sort of thing, so that I was heading out on track with guys I actually wanted to drive with. Yeah. Or I'd be a little bit more. I'd be more calculated. Go around. I'd be more calculated and go around and sort of hunt for guys, if you know what I mean. Like I jumped in with Sam with the RX-7, and he jumped on me on the Saturday, and then I told him on Sunday, on Saturday I said, at some stage just swing by my pit bay and I'll come out with you if I'm sitting there. But he came just as we were loading up the car to go to Archie. So so there's some of those opportunities that I would have liked to have taken, and the runs we did together were definitely fun, where we were aiming to try and get close to each other and all that sort of stuff. Now I
tried hard. I couldn't get enough traction to get inside you, and then I was a bit cautious coming into the entry, which I was, because I think it was slightly wet, so I was afraid that I was kind of had like a very small percentage, maybe less than 5% that you'd spin, but the lock you've got, you shouldn't spin. But then the other thing was I was afraid that I couldn't brake, so if I went in too quickly or too late, then I just maybe might have driven across the front of you, if you know what I mean, instead of pulling up. And that was probably the bigger concern. So I tried to slow down a lot, and then I think that messed me up. But it would be nice if the track conditions were consistent.
Yeah, but people say that the March one is called Matsuri.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's Matsuri because it's still wet season, so they get a lot of rain during that time. It's almost guaranteed that it's going to rain during March Matsuri at QR. So,
did you get out on short track?
No, I didn't bother going out to short track.
Really? That was fun.
Well, but I was thinking about going out on Saturday night, and then it ended up raining, and everybody's like, "Don't even bother going out there when it's been raining because it's basically a burnout pad." Oh, did they end up closing it? Okay.
Yeah.
Just too dangerous. Yeah, I don't know. Short track for me, I looked at it and was a bit more like I can go down to Archie for a similar vibe. So,
short track was fun.
Yeah, but
definitely
it just wasn't saying
get on Dawn short track though. It was cool.
Yeah. From some of the videos, it looked like they give some people free reign just to go out and thrash around a little bit and do their own thing, almost like a skid pan, and then.
There's only a limit to how many cars I think are out there, because the turnaround spot is only so big, and then once that becomes full, then I guess they can only send out cars as they leave.
Yeah, and so I guess that was Queensland for us, and we'll definitely do it again, and I think it's definitely an event for people to try and get up to at some stage. If you don't do many interstate trips, no matter where you're coming from, it's definitely one of those events that is worth going to, I think. And the bulk track time on Saturday is just...
Yeah, it's cool. It was weird seeing an Australian track open that late. So it's really rare. Like I can only remember Archiefield and Calder when we went and did the DCA stuff. Or did you? No.
Yeah,
you
Calder we did into the night. Yeah. Calder we went into the night.
So all the other tracks are too.
One thing over the weekend that I found funny, and you could tell it was a Queensland event because of it. They started checking drivers to see if they had shoes on or not.
Yeah, that was funny, yeah. And I even had a torch. I pointed my torch down to my feet at night because they were asking, they were trying to check to see if I had shoes on.
Yeah, and then they were doing that again on Sunday morning too.
Yeah.
And they breathalyzed the first probably 10 to 15 cars going on track on Sunday morning.
Oh, really?
Yes, the medical staff were out there with a breathalyzer. So
I didn't get breathalyzed.
And I think you came out probably an hour after we'd all gone out. So, yeah, they breathalyzed a few. I think I was the last car to not get breathalyzed. So definitely a Queensland event.
The other thing was you and carports and garages. I think the carport's better than the garage, but the garage is secure, so it's kind of like a
catch-22.
Yeah, so the carports let you see the track a lot easier. You can see cars go past. You can pit very quickly. The garage was good. They're in a long line, so for some reason I was thinking a garage like Wakefield where you squeeze 3 cars in side by side, but it's actually lengthways. Is that the way to describe it? So
like
nose
that.
to tail. So you could. It's kind of narrow, but you can still fit all your stuff in there, and we just shared it. So it's kind of good and bad. I can understand people saying you don't need a garage. You can just live with a carport. I think if I didn't bring as much stuff, then I'd just stay in the carport because you definitely see a lot more. And it's close, and you get out and you can see people go past.
Yeah, I left everything. I left rims and tires in the carport overnight, and my jack and small things like that, and then anything of value was put back in the tow car for the night. So I sort of figured that wasn't so bad. And if worse came to worse, I had the long sort of tie down, the metal wire that I can use to secure my wheels to the trailer.
Yep.
And I figured if it seemed to get sketchy, what I could do was basically chain my wheels and tires up to the chain link fence, and that would have been secure for the night anyway.
Yeah.
So definitely some options for people to think about if they're going to head up for that. I guess in finishing up, the Revolution Motorsport Day is coming up in New South Wales at Wakefield in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
And they're down to, I would say, probably 5 spots left. So if you are considering doing that, hurry up and get on a waiting list, because that's going to sell out. There is only the 4 days at Wakefield with Revo this year. There's the 3 Mondays and the 1 Sunday. And then depending on what happens with High Tech, they've got 2 comps down there as well. So that's pretty much all you're drifting at Wakefield this year. So get on that. And yeah, if you're not driving, try and get down and support that, because hopefully they can run a few more days down there next year. With the increased cost, it's not necessarily easy, but with good numbers, hopefully it'll happen.
Cool.
Yeah. Any feedback, anything like that, let us know. If you can, try and share this as much as you can. We're starting to get our hours up on YouTube, but our subscribers are still fairly low, so it'd be good to try and get some more subscribers on the YouTube side of things, and turn on your notifications. Like on the weekend, EG published, and a few people would have got notifications for that, but I didn't put up a post on the Facebook page until I think Monday once I got home. Just when it's weekends like that, it does get hard for us to manage getting things up. So yeah, sometimes stuff will go up on YouTube before we've announced it on Facebook. So jump over to the YouTube account and subscribe and put
like and subscribe.
Yeah. The likes aren't so important. The subscribes are more important. And yeah, definitely do that if you could. And yeah, any suggestions? Again,
I think the likes give us more motivation. That's what I think. When you see people making at least a like, then you see that, oh yeah, they've seen it, and then you're like, yes, this is good. I want to make some more.
Yeah, when I go in and look at our analytics and see what our average view time is, and it's starting to build, and we're up past the 20-minute mark as an average view time. I know some people probably watch a minute of it or click into it and then go out, and that sort of kills it a little bit, but it's showing that there are a lot of people sitting there and watching the whole thing. So that to me is motivation, because I know that people are actually bothering to listen. People can slap the like and then switch out of it anyway. But to see that we're getting the hours up is definitely good.
Yep.
If you have feedback and there are things you want to say, don't be afraid to write it on the Facebook page. A few people want to make comment. It's an open forum. Neither of us are going to cry about feedback. I cop it from everybody anyway, so most of you are going to write crap about me. Write it. Honestly, I don't really care that much. Anything that you write, I will take on board, and we'll share it. So if you do, or if you're somebody that has a strong opinion and has some influence in the scene and you want to be on here, get in contact with us. We've now done 2 episodes where we've had people on. We're starting to make it work. Let us know. We normally do a Wednesday night, so if you're free on a Wednesday night, let us know, and we're happy to have you on.
Cool. We've got a few people that want to get on as well, so we haven't forgot about you, so we're just trying to work things out.
Through it.
Yeah. Cool.
Yep, too easy. And I think once we're more structured with who's coming on, we will start to put it up online before we have that person, and then we can open it up. So if you do have specific questions for that person, then we can ask questions on behalf of you guys too. So, yeah, don't be afraid to do that.
Wow, your
that's it.
internet is really bad. So you're going to have some freeze frames, which is going to be pretty cool, of your face in different... yeah, that's it.
Positions.
Oh, wow, it actually did it then. That's awesome. All right, well, yeah, just have a look at it when you watch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really, it's weird that my internet's playing up, but mine's been smooth the whole night, even with the 2 guys on, so I don't know. Okay. All right. Well, we'll catch you on the next episode. And, yeah, thanks for listening again, guys. And this has probably gone for like 2 hours and something, but
probably
we'll see how we go.
High five or no high five anymore?
Oh. Well, you're above me. No.
No.
Did we shift after we left?
Yeah. No. So we're back to the normal cropped view. Bit more towards you. More way towards you. So I know. Do you see where your red line of the wall is? That's where it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. There. Yeah. Pretty much there. Wow.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
All right.
We'll catch you on the next one, guys.
We have to get a sound thing for that. Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
See you next time. Bye.
So awkward. Bye.
Bye.
See you next time. Great time.